Hello students, today we are going to discuss the second part of the exception handling chapter, and just to give you a summary of it, what we have discussed in our first lecture of exception handling. We have discussed the basic concept of the exception handling, what is the compile time error, what is the runtime error, and whenever an exception handling is encountered, what will happen, then how to deal with the problem. We have seen some of the keywords like try, catch, how to use them, and also we have seen at the end of the first lecture how to throw the or how to report the user defined exceptions so that you can have your customized message for the user of the program, so that he or she can understand it easily, what kind of error has been encountered where and all. So those things was discussed in our first lecture, and in this lecture we will try to see some of the again additional features of the try catch, like for example, what is the meaning of nested try statement, and what is the meaning of multiple catch block, the use of finally, and the difference between the throw and throws. Please remember that we have already used throw during the we have already used throw while discussing the user defined exception handling, and throws is something different from the throw, so we'll try to understand it, right? So those things will be covered in today's class. So first of all, we'd like to give you an example for what is the meaning of nested try statement, right? Nested try statement. So just to give you an idea, so there will be a try block. Okay, there will be a try block. So you all know that in the try block you have some statement. Okay, and somewhere in between, somewhere below, you have got the catch block. So CATCH. So I'm not worried about it. So you'll have it. Okay, some statement. Now inside the try block you may have, or there is also, or you can also use another try block. Okay, you can use another try. Okay, some statement. You can have further catch block as well. Okay, fine. So putting a try catch statement inside another try block, this kind of architecture or the feature is known as a nested try statement. So in this example you have seen that there is a class called nested try, and there is a main function inside which you have one specific try block, inside which you have got some of this statement. After this statement you have got another try block that will again check this statement, the correctness and all. If there is any error, it will be caught over here. Okay, so accordingly there is a pairwise try and catch. So that is also possible if you want to use it, and it's totally based on your requirement and the need. Okay, so this is one thing. So that is nested try statement. Okay, now you can have multiple catch block as well. Okay, for example, suppose there is a try statement. There is a try statement. Inside the try statement there are some codes. Okay, there are some codes, and you might feel that while executing these codes you may encounter different kind of exceptions. Like for example, you may encounter arithmetic exception. You may for arithmetic exception you will have a separate catch statement. You may encounter array, any maybe array out of box, out of bound, CTCH. So second encounter that this try block may encounter is that array out of array out of bound. So this is another catch block. Likewise, here I have used only two catch. Likewise, you can have several catch statement, right? You can have several catch statement. So this kind of architecture is known as a multiple catch block. Okay, so you can use as many as possible. This also totally depends on what is the instruction, and with respect to that instruction, what are the varieties of error that the statement may be encountering, right? For example, in this case, okay, so the statement is x int x equals to a 2 divided by b minus a of 1. So here you have used some division also, you have used some array also. Okay, so first you may encounter that, okay, divide b minus a of 1, maybe result to 0. Okay, so arithmetic exception e divide by 0. Or you may be referring in this a of 1 or in this a of 2, you might be referring the element which is beyond the limit of the array, so array index out of bound exception. Okay, or you may be storing some information and that's not applicable, wrong data type. Okay, like for example, this may be character, okay, or whatever it is, in any sense. Okay, so you, in any case, for a given instruction, what are the list of or the possibilities of error that you may encounter, you'll be listing in the different catch statement, so that if there is any error encountered, any one of them, the user should be able to understand it very easily. Okay, so suppose b minus a of 1 will give you zeros, and you will get this divide by 0 error. So it is very easy for the user to debug and maintain the program. Anybody can understand it and update the program. Okay, so these are the list of catch that you can have it for this statement. Similarly, whenever you write down try block, and there may exist maybe one statement or more than one statement, and you all know that what are the list of the possibilities of error that you may encounter, so you can list all the possibilities of error in the multiple catch block. Okay, which you want to monitor. Fine. Okay, so we write only those statements which we want to monitor. For example, in this case, you can see int y equals to a of 1 by. So I'm assuming that this statement will never encounter any kind of error, so I'm not going to list it out. Okay, so the statement which has to be monitored are generally kept in the try block. Now last one is the use of finally keyword. Okay, finally is a keyword that is that we want the statement to get executed. Okay, somehow it should get executed, so those statement will keep it in the finally block. Okay, and now see, these are the three different features that we have not listed earlier, so I'll just repeat it. So you can, whenever you write down the Java program, you can have multiple nested try statement, which states that you can have one or more try statement inside another try statement. So in this example, I have seen only I have kept in a loop of only two try block. Okay, only two. So one another, you can have one more inside this also, so that's up to you. So this is the first one. Second one is, if you are if you know the possibility of error that that statement can encounter, or a group of statement can encounter, then you can keep the multiple catch, so that you can easily understand the error whenever it is encountered and update the code, right? So in the then the last one is the finally block. Finally block is generally used in a situation when you want the program to execute a particular statement mandatorily. So at that, those statements are generally kept in the finally block. Okay, now the last one is like so one of the very important uh, uh, important problem. Okay, whenever you use multiple catch block, you can see you have written for this. Okay, you have assumed that you may encounter arithmetic exception, or array out of index out of bound exception, or array store, etc. You can similarly, you can have it. So the one of the problem of multiple catch block is the code becomes lengthy. the code becomes lengthy, very long. Okay, so to avoid that, you can use the keyword throws. You can use the keyword throws. So there are, you have already studied throw, and now you are studying throws. Okay, so the objective of studying throw was to explicitly throw the exceptions generally used in user-defined exception handling, whereas throws is used to remove the problem of multiple catch block, which knowingly or unknowingly increases the lines of code of the program. So as you can see over here, you have used 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, let us consider this example. 1 2 3 4 5 6 statements you have written to handle this exception handling. This 6 statement can be rewritten at a one go also. Okay, so thereby it reduces the lines of the code. The code will become unnecessarily long. Okay, and if the code is long, it will be less readable. So we want to remove this by introducing the throws keyword. So if you know that, okay, these are the list of if you know that these are the list of exception that it can encounter, you directly write it. Okay, you throws what a list of, suppose you know that arithmetic exception, so arithmetic exception, comma, null exception, comma, so you can list as many as possible over here. Okay, so that whenever somebody reads, okay, this method, so this method might encounter the possible list of the exceptions. Okay, so you can easily write it. Okay, now that is the main objective of the throws and throws. Okay? So we'll see the difference. Okay, so before we go about the difference of throws and throws, I'll just read you out the important point, that is note. Declare exception in method signature and handle exception whenever it is called. Force to handle exception whenever. So it will handle whenever it will be invoked. Okay, whenever corresponding exceptions are encountered. Okay, so this is all about it. Now you can see over here the try my method is the name of this method. Now this method might encounter this list of the exceptions, so you are listing out. So how to handle that statement. Okay, so there's one more example of throws you can see over here. So in this example you can see, okay, there is a my class exception. So basically from this statement you should be you should understand easily that we are trying to do what, we are trying to have a user defined exception handling. Okay, so there are two user defined exception handling that we are listed over here. First one is my exception 1 and second one is my exception 2, where you have extended the exception. Okay, and then you have supplied to the MSG variable of the exception class some message. Okay, now what is that message? That message is value matching for exception 1 and for exception 2 value not matching. So these are the user defined string that you are trying to initialize in the MSG of exception class, right? So these are the two user defined functions which has been overwritten over here. So now you can see there is another class called baby class wherein you have what, one instance variable x equals to 5. Okay, now void baby throws exception 1 comma exception 2. So it will this method will throw what, this method will throw either my exception 1 string or my exception 2 string. Now if x is equals to 10, then it will throw value matching, else value not matching. So now this value, if either of them will work at a time, either of them will work. Suppose the first one, if the value of x equals to 10 is true, then value matching string of my exception 1 will be initialized. Okay, so my exception 1 is this part, so value matching which is going over here will get initialized into the MSG of exception class. So what will be the content of exception and all, for that you please refer the first video. Now if the value of x is not equals to 10, then my exception 2 will be invoked. Okay, my exception 2 will be invoked, which initializes the MSG string with value not matching. Now once this string will go over here, it will further initialize in the MSG of exception class with this new string value. Okay, so this is the content of class baby. So this is a main class where you have created the object of class baby. Now you try ob1 dot baby1. Okay, ob1 dot baby1. So this is the name of the method. Now this method, the possibility that the exception thrown by the baby1 method are my exception 1 and my exception 2. Okay, so whenever this is invoked, it might throw my exception 1 or my exception 2. Okay, so that portion is written over here to display the message of value matching, value not matching. So either of them will get invoked because it's a if and else statement. So that's how it works. Okay, I hope I had made it clear. So this example is a very good example where it describes the use of throws also and the use of throw also. You can see here in this example where I have written throws and why I have written throws. Okay, so if I have to show you in, okay, in one line I should be using this. So I want to keep this my exception 1 and in the same line. Okay, yeah. So now you can see that it has now come into the same line. So I'm doing this so that you can understand it easily. So how I'm using throws and how I'm using throw. Okay, so as I told you already that throw is the keyword used to throw the exception explicitly manually. Okay, so I want to have the and generally used during the user defined exception handling. Okay, so this is user defined exception handling, my exception 1 and then my exception 2, which has been extended from the exception class. And exception class is the standard class which contains these MSG variable which contains some predefined strings. Okay, that string, predefined string, is replaced with the new string that we want to display the message for the user. Okay, so this is how I am using the throw. Now throws indicates that this method might throw this and this, or this or this, or both, whatever it is. Since there is a if and else condition, so either of them will get displayed. Okay, so that's how it works. So I hope I made it clear. Now I'll just read you out the importance of throw and throws. Before I read it out, I just again want to give you a recap that throw is used to throw the user defined functions, user defined exceptions explicitly, whereas throws is just like the try catch block, where multiple catch block, where there is a list of possibility of errors. So those list of possibility of errors are written in the same line so that the reader of the program can easily understand what are the list of error that the subroutine can encounter. So it is generally if there are multiple exception that the particular functions is encountering, it is separated by a comma, right? Separated by a comma means separated by a comma, like this. Okay, so throw is a keyword used to throw an exception explicitly, and throw clause is used to declare the exception, which means it works similar to the try catch block. Okay, so it's more appropriate would be multiple catch block, because you can see in the multiple catch block. So instead of writing this, you can have also you can also mention public void my method throws except arithmetic exceptions comma null pointer exceptions. So you could have written that. Okay, syntax. Okay, syntax for using throw is followed by an instance of exception class. For example, throw new exception. Okay, so you have used the keyword new to create the instance of the exception class. Okay, to create the instance. However, in throws we don't use the keyword new. Okay, so we only inform that these are the list of the exception that that the particular method might encounter. This is the second difference with respect to the syntax. Third one is the throw keyword is used in the method body to throw an exception, whereas throw is used in the method signature to declare the exceptions that can occur in the statement present in the method. Now you can throw one exception at a time. Throw can only throw one exception. So you can see over here. So it's throwing only one exception at a time. However, throws can throw multiple exception at the same time, okay, during the declaration. You can see over here multiple exception. This is exception 1, exception 2, but throw only one exception. So that is the main difference between throw and throws. So the summary of it, we have seen the exception handling, okay, is one of the very important tools of the Java for handling the program, to increase the readability of the program and to maintain the normal flow of the program. Then we use the exception handling to avoid the abnormal termination conditions, and we have used the various different concept of exception handling, like try, how to use the try block, how to use the how to use the try keyword, catch keyword, and then throws, and finally keyword. So these are the list of the tasks, these are the list of the topics that we have discussed so far from these last two lectures. Okay, thank you so much. If you have any questions, please do post, or you may bring forward in the next immediate session. Thank you so much.